Every now and again, you'll be playing a video game, minding your own business, and then a character suddenly comes along with an attack animation that could have easily just been some generic swipe of the sword or a punch to the face, but no, they completely curveball you with some elaborate weird attack full of personality, sending you into a broken mess of hysterics. Things like this are what makes games special and memorable. This is exactly the kind of thing I wanted to achieve with the Deathbulge RPG. It's not every day you have the opportunity to make animations for an entire RPG. I was very aware how lucky I was to be in such a position, and I was sure as hell not going to take it for granted. I went as hard as I could. However, as the video title may have alluded to, sometimes I might have got a bit too carried away and bit off more than I could chew, and sometimes maybe something as simple as a basic attack or idle animation that took a month or two. But which animations were the most demanding and why? These are the questions that no one is asking, but I am answering anyway, as a way of celebrating the game's 2-year anniversary of release. For an extra satisfying sense of progression, this will be a full-on ranked list, so we'll be counting down from the easiest of the hardest to the hardest of the hardest. Also, with the help of the wasteometer, I'm gonna rank every animation from 0 to 10 based on how much of a waste of time I felt they were, you know, for a bit of a laugh. And no, the way I'll measure this won't just be based on whether or not the animation helped boost sales. I'm not that basic. The rating will be based on things like how much airtime did it actually get in the game? Does it add anything to the overall experience? And did I actually enjoy animating it? Okay, let's get started. Kicking off this list, we've got a character that doesn't even have legs. How's he kicking anything? Let alone a list. Oh, what a crazy video this is going to be. Originally, this was going to be quite an easy mob to animate, as he is a reskin of an earlier mob in the game with the same running animation and everything. But then I decided to change it to a big, lovely, interweaving mess of cables, in keeping with the theme of the area. As you can probably imagine, making sure all the cables were consistently interweaving each other in just the right way on every frame was very tedious. But it was worth it, right? Because when people play the game, they'll see that attention to detail and they'll appreciate it. Well, not if I could help it, because for some reason, I made all the cables dark grey. So this detail will largely go unnoticed to players. Like, why? Yeah, dark grey black is the most common colour of cable, but I could have put some colourful ones in to help with the visibility a bit. I mean, for crying out loud, that's exactly what I did with the background, so it wouldn't have been out of place. Like, what was stopping me? For this reason, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10 waste of time. It's not 10 out of 10, because 10 would be if I coloured it completely black. Oh, now this is more like it. This guy's got a lovely high-vis jacket. You could see him. Too bad the last guy didn't put one of those on, am I right? Wrong, because then the cables would be covered up. Get that jacket off. What's the matter with you? Christ. This guy's whole thing is that he's a demon security guy for a demon metal concert, so his moves are entirely based on what a event security would do. So you've got keeping the crowd hydrated, requesting assistance,
Oi lads, got a bit of trouble here.
And in the event of a concert goer coming over a little faint, safely extracting them from the crowd. The main reason this guy is on the list is because of his wings. I've not really animated demon wings before, and I think I had no idea what I was doing to begin with. To make them flap convincingly and smoothly while doing all the complex motions for the various attacks. I lost some time there. Also, on top of that, one of his attacks involves animating a whole other character. And since he's pulling people out of a concert crowd, I thought it'd be fun to use the same guy from a crowd surfing comic I did 8 years ago. Hey, maybe you've seen this comic online at some point. I also had a bit of trouble with the splashing water motion too, because there's a very specific motion people do when splashing a bunch of people with water. Like, you gotta go in and out and also shake it all about. It was quite a nuanced motion to get at 12 frames per second, so I just ended up doing some mad smear effects, which, I think I got the gist of it across. Anyway, that's about it for that one. Waste of time, 2 out of 10. Mainly because I feel like I lost a lot of time overthinking the hand bottle motion. Like, who cares? When I first decided to do this list, Fiendship was one of the first enemies to cross my mind because of how elaborate a design it is. Like, 3 people on a ship, are you kidding? The animations weren't actually too involved though. Most of the animations weren't frame by frame at all, but it has its moments. For example, to further help the illusion of the pirate ship being properly embedded in the sea of people, this animation of hands was baked into the animation itself. This might have been a bit overkill in hindsight. Looking back, I'm not really sure why I added text here. Like, that's the only time in the game where I think I've just added text to sound. Or maybe it's the comic roots kicking in. Also, can we get some hot beefy claps for this smoke effect? I was well happy with that one. Thanks. Waste of time. 1. Yeah, have it. Next up, we've got Trista, the saxophonist. She's literally become one with her instrument. That's the whole gimmick of the band she's in. Trista's one of my favourite character designs in the whole game, and I loved animating her, especially her transformation. I love transformation sequences where you can actually see the process of the character transforming. They're always so fun to watch, like Metal Sonic at the end of Sonic Heroes, or Vayne at the end of Final Fantasy XII, all that kind of stuff. While her outfit was rather involved and definitely took longer than most to draw over and over, her appearance is designed around a saxophone. The most absolute visual mess of an instrument. So it could have been a lot worse. So why is she in this list? Well, for starters, she's got one of the most elaborate idle animations in the whole game. She could have easily just been standing still, but, you know, didn't do that. On top of that, she has a one-off final attack move, which is also one of the most elaborate attack animations in the game. She was also one of the lucky few to be blessed with a walking animation. Waste of time? 3 out of 10, mainly because so many of our animations only happen during one-off events. Like, the final attack only happens once. The transformation thing, I think, happens twice. And the walking animation only happens once for like a split second as she leaves a room. So it's very blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. But it's still only 3 out of 10 because I enjoyed animating her so much. Hey look, it's that guy from the thumbnail. Being one half of a synth-pop duo that prides itself on being as dazzling and glamorous as possible, Scrumptious absolutely needed some really over-the-top attacks that were way more showy than they were comfortable to pull off. After all, why play a keyboard like a normal person when you can play it like this? He also has a move where he spins so fast that he becomes a disco ball. I gotta say, animating the disco ball was probably one of the most fun challenges in the whole game for me. Like, figuring out when to color the squares black and when to brighten them. Almost felt like a grid-based tactics game. Scrumptious has been in that disco ball for a while. I hope he's alright. Waste of time? It's gotta be 0. 0 out of 10. Animating Scrumptious's various moves and the disco ball, it was a highlight. Before we go any further, I'd just like to let you know we are now entering the premium spoiler zone. Every single entry from this point onwards is extremely late game. So if you haven't played this game before and this video has made you think, oh, maybe I should give it a go, thank you for clicking on this video and watching it. Even though the game is unfamiliar to you, I think your curious mind is a beautiful thing and it is to be celebrated. Pat yourself on the back immediately. Now that your back has been thoroughly patted, maybe give the game a go and then come back. And then pat yourself on the back again for buying it. It is on sale. By the way, if there's a game in which you've been curveballed by a bonkers attack animation, feel free to mention it below. I'd love to hear about it. Like, all my examples at the start of the video were from before 2010, so let's face it, my mental archive could do with a bit of a refurbishment. Anyway, let's continue. Number 4 is the incredibly narcissistic, Wikitar-wielding, mallard hip-hop megastar. Every time you fight Quack, he's added another layer of jacket. He's kind of like the Hydra in a way, like every time you strike him down, he'll come back later in the game wearing even more clothing than before. For this battle, he's also got like the sickest shoes in the whole game. Of course, with this amount of layered, oversized clothing combined with energetic dancing, you get relentless flapping. Relentless flapping was easily the main challenge of this whole thing, especially with the footwork dance. With almost every frame that passed, everything was being shifted in a new direction due to the sheer speed of the footwork. It was pretty much trial and error, drawing and redrawing stuff over and over until all the layers of clothing flapped around in a way that made me go, yeah, that's good, yeah, right on. Waste of time? Man, and that's going to be another 0 out of 10. I think it's the animation I'm most proud of across the whole game. It was ambitious as hell, and I thought it was going to end up looking a bit naff, but it miraculously came out just as I was hoping it would, so hooray! I think it definitely boosted my confidence in animation significantly. This is Clop, the gigantic drumming stallion from demon metal band Apocalypse. As the name suggests, they are themed around the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but they are actual horsemen. It's probably of little surprise that a heavy metal drummer is so high on this list, given how much movement is required to be one. As Clop represents the war horseman, my primary goal with him was to make the angriest drummer possible. Every move just beating the absolute piss out of the drums as hard as he can. Capturing that level of extreme impact was definitely like it took a while to get it at a level I was happy with. Overall, I was very happy with this one. The extra effort to make his aggression come through in every animation really paid off. But I'm gonna give it a 1 because similar to Traborga, his dark color means that a lot of the muscle detail doesn't really come through. It's not very visible, which is a bit of a shame. But you know, his stage presence more than makes up for it, I think. So 1 out of 10. I hope you guys like wrestling. This is Splash, he plays marimba. And this is Rudy, he plays piano. I put them both in a single entry because they're similar in a lot of ways, both in theme and animation difficulty. Having them separate would have had me repeating myself like way too much. I was very excited about the idea of pro wrestlers trying to play musical instruments, but the only way they know how is to do wrestling moves on them. I thought that was a very fun concept to play around with, but I knew it was going to be a problem going in. Frame by frame animating wrestling moves is not easy. I mean, if you've ever had to draw a pair of well-toned individuals locked in an intricate interweaving position, you'd know this feeling. While the body splash and chair shot attacks weren't too involved, there were 2 moves that guaranteed their place on this list. The first one being Splash's suplex. and the second being Rudy's Hurricane Rana. These animations took so long, probably not helped by me getting hung up on things like the marimba having the exact amount of tubes and bars in every frame, 15. I also fell victim to those deceitful little fun ideas that seem harmless at first, only to bite you on the arse later. Ideas like, oh, what if Rudy has Christmas jumper themed body markings? And oh, what if the instruments were made from the muscular trees you encounter in the first area of the game? Like, yeah, great, fun ideas. You do realize you're going to have to draw all those extra details on every single frame in addition to everything else, right? Since these instruments are massive, I tried to give a real sense of weight as they were being thrown about by having them lift off the ground slower, but I think those parts of the animations needed a few more frames to accomplish that more effectively. Also, I really didn't like that I had to do this weird bounce back with the piano, but I guess I needed to do that to get it back into its neutral position by the end of the move. This piano is basically a wrestler that refuses to sell a move. It just gets back up immediately, just takes away all sense of impact. On that note, waste of time. I really like the idea of these guys, and I'm glad I went for it. But I think the moves that were the most time consuming, I wasn't all that happy with. Like they lack the oomph factor that Klopp had. To do all that work and still not feel like I nailed it kinda sucks. Ironically, the body splash and chair shot attacks are my personal faves, despite being the two that were far quicker to make. Also, due to how the fight works, you can quite easily get through this whole fight and not see either of these moves in full. So, I'm torn on this one. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I'm just gonna go straight down the middle. Like, I'm glad I did it, but also, I don't know. At this point, it's starting to dawn on me that there is a significant overlap between characters that I willingly spend a lot of time on and get carried away with, and characters that are men with fantastic bodies in revealing clothing. But what does it mean? Well, before we do number one, I felt Headbang the Drummer deserves a special mention, because I had so much fun animating him. Also, technically, I can say I cried animating this. That is probably because animating Headbang was what I was doing when I experienced the end of my first long-term relationship. It's funny to me that one of the goofiest characters in the game has such an association like that. Like, whenever I look at that like animation of him smacking the floor with his face, all I can think of is like, hey, my first major breakup. Yeah, good times. For the other honourable mention, let me set the stage for you. You're developing an RPG, so naturally you want to put in things that you like to see in other RPGs. You like it when they have those expressive dialogue portraits that show off the characters' emotions as they talk. Great, okay, so you gotta draw those for each character, no biggie. But you also like it when RPGs let you change a character's class and outfit, like the Final Fantasy job system. But oh, how you loathe it when the games they trick you, they let you change the outfit, but then as soon as there's a cutscene or a dialogue portrait, it's right back to the default outfit with you. Oh, you don't want to be lumped in with that rabble, do you? No, you're better than that. So now you've got to draw dialogue portraits for every outfit, for every emotion, for every character. Okay, done. Now what? Well, there is the small matter of the character sprite animations. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's do number one. Alright, Alright, so fun fact about number 1. When it was originally created, it ended up being so big that to stay within Toon Boom's export limitations, I had to animate all its various body parts separately. That means we can dramatically reveal number 1 part by part. That'll be a bit of fun, isn't it? Given the level of detail and the shading required on every frame, like, it wasn't going to move around too much. You can forgive me on that, right? However, I'd be remiss if I didn't do at least one sort of fancy animation. And here it is. This is the animation for when it charges up a powerful attack. Given how many animations on this list feature characters flipping and flopping all over the place, you're probably wondering how this ended up being number 1 when it's just a bunch of copy-pasted skulls running across the back of a character. Well, it wasn't copy-pasted. Nothing was. Every single skull on every single frame was uniquely drawn. Yep. Waste of time? So originally I was going to say like, 0 out of 10, it's the big final boss, come on, it's got to be done. But I feel like all the little skulls, you know, I feel like your average person that looks at this will think that they're all copy-pasted. So to draw them all individually, I think that was a bit dumb. So, pains me to say it, but I think I'm going to say 7 out of 10. That's stupid. The skulls alone shouldn't raise the rating up that high. Like, it's still a solid animation that I'm really happy with. Like, the general presence of the boss in that fight, it really paid off. So yeah, 4. I'm going to say 4, yeah. In conclusion, I hope I didn't come across too negative with the whole waste of time thing. I mean, it was just a bit of a joke, really. Like, I've always been one of those artists that prides himself on jumping headfirst into unnecessary workloads. Like, I'm going to do it again. Just knowing that something is going to be an arduous undertaking it's what attracts me to trying it in the first place. It's just so much more rewarding, and the opportunity to test your skill limits is always exciting. Like, I think you need that kind of mindset to make a bloody video game in the first place. Overall, I'm very pleased with the animations and what they bring to the game, and one could argue that in milking these animations for a YouTube video has reduced the waste of time they were in the first place. Yeah, think about it. Admittedly, I'd probably be a lot more negative about all these animations if the game was never finished, or maybe if the game was so bad that it didn't do the animations justice, but it was released, and it was bloody great. A huge thank you to Kyle and Scott for seeing it through to the very end, despite the ridiculous level of challenge and workload required. And similarly to Patrick and Leslie, making an incredible soundtrack that you've been hearing throughout this entire video. It feels like a miracle that this game exists. Thank you so much to everyone that backed the Kickstarter, told people about the game, played the game, bought the game, left a Steam review, made fan art, or cosplayed, or making soft toys. While I'm at it, I gotta shout out the people that have been buying the game at full price a whole 2 years after release. Like, that's really nice, thank you. I didn't know people did that on Steam, but hell yeah. Yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and happy 2 years to the game coming out. Also, I'm gonna shout out to patrons because due to the lack of comics, I haven't really been offering much on my Patreon, and people have still been supporting me anyway, and I feel like they deserve a treat. So let's shout them out. Thank you to the following: Emir Katan, Sigrid Obenland, Alejandro Pimentel, Dave Turvey, Edward D, Enui Banana, James Wormsley, Morgan von Brelan, Miss Fuffles, Nerdgasm Charlie, Pascal Siddons, Shay Canfield, Smith, Stephen Kinahan, A Person, Adrian Bartoli, Albrecht, Alex Norris, B, Carl Svensson, Foul Mill, Fizzy Dam, Gaz Thomas, JL Westover, Lane X20, Louise Loops, Maria Lorinen, P, Patrick Fitzgibbon, Robin Martinchak, and Jane the Ninja. Thank you very much to all of you.